heavy fucking metal. I don't think any other genre of music can be described that way, and metal is just the most, I think, the most diverse genre of music out right now. There's so many different subgenres of metal, such as traditional heavy metal, such as Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin. I know Matt mentioned them as like a blues rock. Genres tend to cross and develop from each other. Other genres of metal, new wave of British heavy metal, such as Iron Maiden and Saxon. Thrash metal from America, such as Metallica, Megadeth. Death metal, such as Death and Possessed. New wave of American metal, being the newest wave of metal, such as Lamb of God and Shadows Fall. This wave of metal reiterates my point that metal genres cross and develop from each other. This is somewhat chronological, as well as showing how different genres spawn from one another. Starting from the first metal bands, as I mentioned, not too clear, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, to the most recent, the new wave of American heavy metal, some of the more contemporary bands. So what? Because of the many subgenres, there's been a lot of misconceptions and a lot of blanket stereotypes that have been planted because there's some small groups of metal that might have certain characteristics that are not necessarily true for everything. Usually out of context and not necessarily accurate. The most prominent aspect would definitely have to be that the way that people that listen to metal look. As you can see, I did not come in a suit. I come as an example of the wardrobe of a typical metal listener. I don't necessarily have chains, I don't have piercings, I don't have tattoos everywhere, though I do have one tattoo. Another aspect is the t-shirt. My typical wardrobe, and if you look in my closet, black t-shirts of a metal band. It's not always full of profanity and gore, while it is a definite common facet of metal t-shirts. A common facet being profanity and gory images. So that brings me to my next point, the metal look. This being a t-shirt of a metal band called Cannibal Corpse. It obviously is an extreme example of gore, and this is being a profanity. But if you think about it, metal is just another taking the previous rock generation to the next level. And what was the point? What was the catchphrase of rock and roll? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's just inciting rebellion and deviation from the cultural norm. And what easier way to incite rebellion and deviate from the cultural norm than profanity and gore? You know, if you're looking for a shock value, there's nothing easier to use. And metal takes full advantage of that. But if you think about it, using these aspects of metal to categorize it as evil or bad really makes no sense. If you think about it, metal, we watch movies that have the same type of contact. We watch movies where people are being killed with chainsaws or having bombs in their necks and having their head explode. But we don't consider the movies evil, or we don't consider the writers evil. So why does this happen with metal? It's hard to understand that a lot of people just take this that way. Another important aspect of metal is the mosh pits, and this is why a lot of violence has been attributed to metal. While mosh pits may appear like they're very violent, it's not that you're trying to go hurt someone. It's a way to release stress, frustration. You're pushing each other with music, loud music everywhere. It's not as violent as it appears, because you don't see that if someone falls, you're immediately picked up. If you get hurt, you're taken care of. Keith Con Harris explains that it's not for violence, as I said, it's to release anger, frustration, stress. This is not a frenzy. Now, there's specific tonality of metal, and in my experience, the reason I got into metal is because I used to listen to classical. Metal uses the minor tonality, such as the harmonic minor and melodic minor. These two scales are very prominent in classical music. and such as the diminished fifth. Diminished fifth is, if I had more time, I would show an example. It's a very dark, creepy tone found a lot in Black Sabbath. And so you would say, what? Heavy metal? Beethoven? I was going to show examples, but in essence, it's not happy. It's not like pop music that sounds very happy and it gives you a very uplifting mood. It has a very dark, ominous presence. And it also focuses a lot on speed and proficiency, especially in guitar players. Most guitar, like a metal listener will always tell you, yeah, it's so fast, it's so like blazing leads. Stuff. Descriptions of that way will really stand out when you listen to metal. More examples such as Rusty Cooley and Paul Gilbert are very famous guitar players. And also the experiences that you get to meet, like you don't really get to meet your favorite musician if you listen to much larger bands like, say, pop or hip hop. You probably wouldn't have a conversation with Kanye West. But every time I go to a concert, I get to talk to my favorite musician. And in some very rare occasions, you actually get invited up on stage, such as this picture. On October 5th, I went to see a concert, and the vocalist of the band saw that I was singing along, and he just asked me, do you know the song? And then he just beckoned me to come up on stage, handed me the mic, and walked off stage, leaving me standing there, dumbfounded, staring at a crowd of almost 500 people with a microphone in my hand, and while the song was playing behind me. It took me a couple of seconds, but I got into it, and it sang the song. So, as you can see, metal is not as evil or bad as it appears to be. There's a lot of positive aspects to it. And my sources.